Welcome back to the Lions Garden podcast. I'm your host, Annie Peguero, founder of the Lions Garden Coaching and Consulting Group. My personal, professional, and spiritual journey really began when I decided that I was done with imposter syndrome and done with self-sabotage. I made small shifts, said bring it on to fear and discomfort, and released attachment to the outcome to take big action in my life. Now I help business owners, moms, leaders, entrepreneurs, and you do the same and become the person who does the thing in your life. Thanks for listening to The Lions Garden. Please go to thelionsgarden.com to learn about our coaching and consulting services. Hey, beautiful friend. It is Annie Peguero, and this is Season 5. Holy shit, it's Season 5. It's Monday, January 8th as of this recording right now. It's Season 5 of the Lions Garden podcast. Yes, I've changed the name several times, and I'll tell you what, this journey, this lifetime, these moments are nothing short of spectacular every day. And what I kind of want to talk about in this comeback episode are the micro shifts that we make in every moment, every breath really, to bring our awareness back to alignment. And if you're like, oh, come on, I'm in this time of dormancy, it's January, like I don't want to do that right now, I'm going to wait for spring to reinvent, then yes, I'm with you. And it was time for me to make a comeback. My friend asked me today, she said, Annie, she's like, what's your elevator pitch? Because I mentioned to her, I'm like, I have space in my schedule for some one-on-one clients. And I would just be so honored if you have anyone that is interested in, or anyone that feels stuck, people that aren't sure what the next step is in their life. They are ready for more, but they're not really sure how to get there. And I'm like, I'd love if you would refer your friends to me. And she's like, well, what's your elevator pitch? Like, what can I tell people? And I just kind of froze, and I'm like, elevator pitch. Like, I'll tell you, I want to be pitchless. I desire to be pitchless. And, my business, my coaching business for the last 11, 12 years has just been about helping people do the thing. Like, whatever it is that thing is, I help entrepreneurs, I help moms, I help military leaders, and it's just about helping people do the thing. And I've decided that I'm not going to back myself into that corner. I'm not going to back myself into that place of having to choose a niche. And I'll tell you, over the last 12 years in business, I have invested upwards of $75,000 on my own personal and professional development. Man, probably close to 100, really, when I am being really honest. And some of those coaches and groups and, different business development courses that I've been part of have been amazing. And some have been shit. Some have been just garbage and a giant waste of tens of thousands of dollars. And, how do I know that? Well, because I was attempting to follow somebody else's playbook or program or blueprint on how to run their coaching business. And every single time there was some talk about niche or who do you help? Because if you don't help a specific demographic and say that you're for everybody, then you help nobody. Well, I'm going to say a big fat bullshit to that, because I'm not going to do that. And that's what feels right and good for me in this stage of my life. I'm going to be 49 in a couple of weeks, and I feel this incredible expansion just in my heart, in my world. And it's not a limit. I don't feel that now is the time to put these limits upon myself and my coaching business. So that being said, the point of this episode today is really to help you to bring some awareness to these small, kind of like you might even feel that they're not even there, like almost non-existent shifts, micro shifts, if you will, in your way of thinking that brings you back to who you are, to your truth. So you don't abandon yourself when you have these desires to reach goals and, up-level your life and do the things that you want to do in 2024. So micro shifts and self-abandonment and what the prevention of that looks like. So the way I look at it and the way that I kind of bring this into my life every day is just a very, very simple, is this in alignment with where I'm going? Not aligning with the person that I was even just a minute ago, just aligning with who I am at this breath. And at every breath, I can make a choice, as like you can make a choice in every single breath to choose your own truth, to choose your most true desires. And if you're like, Annie, what are you even talking about? What are you saying? I want you to press pause and I want you to just take a breath and feel. And where are you feeling any type of holding back or limits within your own body? And for me, whenever I do that, I take a pause. It always shows up in my solar plexus where truth lives. And I recognize, just in this time of incredible silence where I've been over the last year and just like grieving and being and looking inward, that I've found that I have shifted my own way of being and my desires in order to kind of fit the bill that somebody, whoever it might be, like whether it was a parent, a friend, a lover, a relationship, a job. Oh my gosh, so many different jobs, right? Shifting who you are to be loved. Shifting who you are to be loved. And that feeling of self-abandonment is and can be the root cause of this roadblock that may be present in your life to reaching your goals, fulfilling your desires, taking that next step in your business, in your relationships, in your parenting, to be who you truly, truly are. Now, okay, that's a lot. That I just unloaded a lot on you, and I've just got all of these things swimming around in my notes app and in my brain. And I really think the core of everything, moving forward is truth and honoring who you are at your core, when peeling back all of the layers of busyness and rushing around and leading these incredibly full and beautiful lives, taking a moment to recognize self and what your, not even so much purpose, your desires, who you are at your core, that I see getting lost in the American way. When I lived in my family and my husband's an active duty Marine. He's transitioning right now to the private sector. What we saw when we lived in Okinawa, Japan for 7.5 years is that, as you can imagine, life on island time is much different. And if you want to go back and listen to, was it episode, maybe it might be 83, I'm not quite sure, but I did a whole episode on island time and what living in, like on island time looks like and what it feels like and how you can bring those aspects of slowing down into your life. And it's funny because, well, funny, not funny, whenever I talk about these things in person with people, whenever somebody says, oh, I'm just so busy, I can't, do X, Y, and Z. And I talk about like really slowing down. I know I get that feeling that people are like, oh, must be nice, or, well, I couldn't possibly do that. Like I have way too much on my plate. Like I'm racing to this and racing to that. It doesn't mean that you're going to stop like doing all of the things. It's just slowing down a little bit in your mind and getting 100% present when you are doing the things. And maybe it might look like taking some of the things off of your plate, but, and then back to the point of this episode is the micro shifts to awareness that I'd love to welcome you to really embrace here in this dormant season of winter 2024 just beginning. Just really coming back to self and figuring out exactly what that looks like. And then what do you do with it, right? You're like, okay, I've been thinking about this, meditating on it, journaling about it. And then what, right? Like, then what? Because I've always been a person, I want a to-do list. Like I want a action item. I want a step. I want either to me give myself homework or something to do, right? And it was like this big awakening for me when I went to she's a Eastern medicine doctor practitioner on Okinawa. Actually, several of them said this to me. Several different acupuncturists and energy workers and even doctors that I went to in Okinawa, and they'd say, Annie, just say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was a real eye-opening piece of homework for me, and it took a while to do. Now, very different from like a gratitude journal or writing down the things that you're thankful for. It is really just sitting in thank you, instead of how does this not serve me and what can I let go of? It's just being in that space of 100% thank you for all of the tragedy, all of the pain, all of the grief, all of the beauty and joy and sparks and glimmers of glitter and beautiful things that happen in your life. Now, this is a lot. I just said a lot here. And I think the bottom line is this is the Lion's Garden podcast. I'm Annie Peguero, and this is the time in your life to accept your 100% truth and wholeness, and just moving forward into 2024 with this beautiful grace. And even when the days are shit, right? Even when they suck, just knowing that you have the power within you to make every breath count. And that doesn't mean that it's rainbows and butterflies. It just means that you are your 100% true and authentic self, just having these micro shifts towards awareness. I've got a lot more to say on this. This is a really great start. Thanks so much for being here. I'd love to invite you to go over to my website, thelionsgarden.com. That's the name of my new book that's coming out sometime for hopefully the end of this year. The proposal's done. It is off to potential agents to find a publisher. So the name of my book is Into the Lion's Garden. So I've named my podcast The Lion's Garden, my website The Lion's Garden, and my coaching business is now called The Lion's Garden. I look forward to getting to know you. Send me an email. You can always reach out on, well, any of the ways really. Email, Instagram. I always answer my own messages there on Instagram. So I'm looking forward to 2024 and getting to know you. Thanks so much for being. Hey, it's Annie Peguero. Thanks again for listening. It is a joy to record these podcast episodes for you. It's one of my absolute favorite things to do. If you love this episode, you something in it was valuable to you, your review means the world. If you could go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review for this episode, that would be amazing. Also, a review over on Google or LinkedIn. Those are the places where your reviews mean the most for me and for my coaching and consulting business. Again, see you over at thelionsgarden.com. And now, cue the really cool 80s. No, it's definitely not 80s, 90s outro music. I love it. I love it so much.